What up, everyone? It's your boy Soju from the Straight Chillin' Podcast, back with another video game review, this time for BioShock from 2007. Now, this is the game that we played on our Twitch channel back in March, and to start things off, I would absolutely recommend that you play through this game, especially if you're a fan of first-person shooters. But before I get too far into it, let's go ahead and drop that spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning.
So starting off with the positives, BioShock does an amazing job at world building. Even though I've played through this game so many different times, I still get chills at the initial introduction to the world of Rapture. Seeing this massive metropolis submerged beneath the ocean always just leaves me a little bit breathless, and the fact that they turn this magnificent looking world into a realm of horror makes it that much more exciting and engaging. For a game that came out in 2007, there are so many iconic characters to come from this franchise that have shown that they stand the test of time. The introduction to the Big Daddies and Little Sisters is just another monumental moment. The overall design and backstory for the Big Daddies is so interesting and tragic, which is a cool twist for these intimidating foes that you have to deal with so often. Anytime I had to face one, it felt like a true horror moment. Seeing these giants in decrepit old diving suits charging at you with a giant drill is always such a thrill for me. Additionally, the characters of Andrew Ryan, Atlas, and Fontaine are written so well. There's some really deep character development that goes on here as you explore the history of Rapture and how it ultimately fell into chaos, and I felt like the voice actors did a great job making these characters come to life. Because this game is so immersive, I loved exploring and finding as many voice recorders as I could in order to give me more and more backstory about Rapture and how this society worked. Even though I've played through this game so many times, I always pick up on new aspects of the world that I missed before, which gives this game a really high replayability as well. Also, the gameplay itself is just a lot of fun to play. The use of plasmids is one of the big attractors that got me into this game in the first place. Being able to shoot fire or electricity or ice out of your hands while also participating in a first-person shooter just makes you feel so powerful and adds some really fun strategy to the battle components. I always appreciated the variety of weapons you are given, as each gun has alternative ammunition that really give you a ton of different options throughout the game. And finally, with the positives, I thought most of the level development and design was also brilliant. From the medical pavilion to Fort Frolic, each area brings its own type of horrors and despicable characters that you have to deal with. As far as some of the negatives for this game go, I do think some of the gameplay can become tedious after a while. I personally liked the hacking aspect of this game, but when you have to hack all of the machines and safes the same way throughout the game, it can get pretty tiresome after a while. Also, because it takes you out of the game for hacking, it can make the overall gameplay feel choppy. There's also a few aspects of the game that I just never really got into and never really enjoyed, and that would be the research camera as well as the item building. Between the guns, plasmids, and alternative ammunition, it just felt like the item building and research camera was too much of an overload, and I really didn't enjoy the two tutorial phases where they make you use these aspects in the game. Now, luckily, once those phases are complete, the game does not make you depend on them, and I was mostly able to play the rest of the game without having to use them, and I like that they give you that choice. And as a final critique on BioShock, there are times where it feels like there's a lot of backtracking and searching for items that can bog the gameplay down a bit and can feel a bit tedious. Mostly it's with the main story missions where someone makes you hunt down items just to progress through the level. But honestly, this critique is pretty nitpicky and mostly comes from the fact that I've played this game so many times. So when considering all of these things, let's go ahead and jump into the final score.
Overall, I'm gonna give BioShock a 5 out of 5. It is absolutely one of my favorite video games, and I think it holds up really well even 13 years later. If you've played through BioShock, let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to get some weekly horror content from the Straight Chillin' podcast. And until next time, everyone, please don't forget to keep chillin'.